Good evening, everyone. Oh, I'm a bit dark here. Welcome to my weekly Node-RED live stream. Here with an hour or so of Node-RED code development. Excuse me whilst I just sort out my lighting. Hope you've all had a good couple of weeks. We skipped last week. I was away at NodeConf EU over in Ireland for the few days, which was awesome. And then we had Node-RED Con on Friday. I hope many of you got a chance to watch some of that. If not, the stream is still available. Well, the stream is available on the Node-RED YouTube channel. Lots of... Well, it was a long day. It was, I think, 11 hours of talks between the Japanese and English tracks. It was a good day. Great event. Look forward to... Well, I don't know if I'm... Yeah, but it was the end of a long week. But here we are now. Software UK today is green, not red. Yes, I'm wearing one of my other hoodies, not my usual red one. What are we up to tonight? We are carrying on where we had left things off a couple of weeks ago, looking at locking flows. So... this is, I'm clicking around, tidying things up so I can share stuff and show stuff. Noxy Boy, the bed is back. I decided I should neaten up my backdrop for the conference keynote, which I did the Japanese keynote at 9 a.m. my time on Friday. I think it was 5 to 9. I realised I should clear the backdrop. So, yes, I very hurriedly just moved everything you can see behind me out onto the landing, and then had to hastily move it all back in here so that we could get into the airing cupboard in the evening. Anyway, but I am making slow and steady progress on the furniture building I'm doing for in here, but that's a different stream of activity. I did wonder actually, one Monday evening, or maybe not the evening stream, just live stream, set up a cam in my garage and just live stream me building furniture or something just completely different. Anyway, but that's not what you're all here for. You're here for Node-RED. And it's wonderful to have you here. So, locking flows. Here we go with me just trying to remember what state my workspace is in. Pretty sure I'm in the right code branch. Because I did just got into locking flows, and I had committed all the work in progress. But and I have this git rethink, which undoes the last commit command, which is handy when I'm switching between branches a lot. I can just commit code without thinking, go back into that branch and just do a git rethink, and it takes me back to where I was, work in progress. So we're doing locking flows. It should be the case I can come in here and lock. That's now locked. Except I can now move him around. Interesting. Let's just do a hard reload and see if I lock the flow, hit done. Yeah, it still lets me move things around. Interesting. But if I hit deploy and reload, okay, now it doesn't let me move him around. That's good. Sorry, I'm just clicking around, checking out what's going on. Okay, so there's a bug there. It doesn't set the locked state correctly when you come out of the edit dialog. There's going to be a lot of those little edge cases, because if you remember, we spent a fair bit of time in the last stream laboriously going through all of the actions that modify stuff and adding in a check saying, well, only modify if you're not locked. Now, there's part of me that thinks that's going to kind of make or break this feature. That we don't have a way in the editor to lock it, to lock the nodes. We are reliant on every action that exists that might modify something. It checking whether it's allowed to or not. So a thought occurred to me a little while ago, as in the last hour, when I was just trying to think what next steps, aside from just an exhaustive search of functionality, trying to find other places that we need to add checks. There was an experiment that I wanted to do, which is, can we, in a more programmatic way, prevent modifications being made to nodes, or groups or flows, whatever, in a way that if we miss a case, then a change can't be accidentally made. And I've got an idea. This might not pan out at all. And if it doesn't pan out, that's fine. We've learned something and we move on. But yeah, we're going to do a little experiment is what we're going to do. So to do this experiment, what do I want to do? I want to think about, of course that's something else we've not done, isn't it? We haven't done anything stopping you making changes in the edit dialog. There's a question over whether you should be able to open the edit dialog at all. Obviously, it would be cleaner if you couldn't, because then we don't have to do anything. The edit dialog might have side effects, which we don't want to trigger. And you can always see the node configuration in this side panel. So what I wanted to have a little play with, if we go to View Tools, because this is where, if you look in my, because it's off the side of the screen, there we are, you can see it now. You can see these green change bars in the side, in the mini-map on the side. This is the blob of code we've added all over the place. So if the active workspace is locked, then just return. I want to pick an example action in here, which we've added that to. So let's say I'm going to do it to the align. Just out of interest, I'm going to remove this check. Okay, so I've removed that check. Now let's just remind myself. So align, let's say align to top is Alt-A-T for top. So if I select these two and Alt-A-T, it's align the nodes. Okay. What I'm wondering is, JavaScript lets you do a thing called freeze an object. So I'm just going to get a hold of these two nodes. Okay, but I'm just going to reload and get those nodes back again. So N1 is the inject node, this inject node here, and then N2 is this node down here. Now N1 is the actual node object with all of its properties. And I can already see a way that I think this is going to break. If I call object dot freeze n1, notice how I can no longer select that node. See, up here I can select that node. This node I can't select. And if I select those two nodes, okay, that's interesting, yeah. I think it's selected, but because I've frozen the object, we're not updating the selected property of it, so it's not refreshing. Now if I do align to bottom, red.view.selection.nodes. Oops. Yeah, so we have got 3 nodes selected, including the inject node. Oops. Yeah, including our inject node. But because I've frozen the object, we're not allowed to make updates. So we've got n1 and n2. So for example, n2, I could say n2.x equals, I don't know, 600. Then if I do red.view.redraw, no. And maybe n2.dirt equals true. There we go. So debug1 moved, and it moved because I was just changing its local properties. n1, however, if I say n1.x equals 200, and then query what n.x is, it returns 160. So it hasn't actually modified any of the object properties. It's effectively made it read-only. Now you don't get an error when you try modifying it. Any updates are just ignored. If I now do an object, and this is what I can't, well, this is where I'm reaching my limits of what freezing object. So object is frozen n1 returns true, and n2 is not frozen. What I can't remember is how to unfreeze an object. Is there a way? Darn. Okay, and perhaps I should have Googled this before I went down this rabbit hole. Basically saying once you've frozen, you cannot unfreeze it. So that's a pain. Do you see what I was trying to do? Yeah, we were wanting to make it so you can't modify any of the properties. So that's not the route to go. Freezing isn't the way to do it. The other option, and this is going to delve into a bit of JavaScript I don't know so well, are proxy objects. So proxy objects enable you to create a proxy. The proxy object enables you to create a proxy. Yes, thank you. What does that mean? Right, so a proxy can intercept and redefine fundamental operations for that object. Before we go down this route, browser compatibility, look at that. Even IE has, is that true? Is IE even on this list anymore? No, there's no IE. Even better. But, yeah, not a red cross in sight. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, what if we replace nodes with proxy objects, then if we can intercept any update on the object and we check are you a locked object or not, and if you are locked then we can reject it. The nice thing though, there are certain properties like selected which we would allow to pass through. So you'd still be able to. So the internal properties that we update on the object that aren't part of its configuration, we would allow through. There's something here, I think. So, for example, let me so I'm doing some, because the thought of proxies only occurred to me whilst I was talking about, well, yeah. Yes. Right, so we're going to experiment here a little. So we're going to define a handler function. Oh man, what's the shortcut to? Really? Control tab. There we are. Define a handler function. Well, a handler which is going to be an object, and we don't want to muck around with the getter. We're going to muck around with the setter. So we don't want the get. Yeah. Get validator. Okay, so we're going to have a set handler. Could have guessed that. And for now, we'll just do console.log obj.id prop value. Why not? Then we will say obj prop. Oh, autocomplete can be a real pain in the ass sometimes. That, and then what does it need to see? Indicate success, so return true. Okay. Out of interest, what does semantically, what does failure mean? Method set there. Receive return. If set method returns false, the assignment happened in strict mode code, a type error will be thrown. Do we use strict mode in the editor? Probably should, but okay. Oh, in fact, we're not using strict mode because if I believe if trying to do this assignment on a frozen object should have thrown a type error if we were in strict mode, and it didn't throw an error, so I don't think we're in strict mode. Anyway, we'll return. We're going to return true because right now we're just effectively setting up a little spy. Okay, so that's our handler function. Then we're going to say new node equals new proxy on n. Oh, we've frozen n1, so we're going to do it on n2. Handler. Now, if we look at new node, yeah, it's got all of the properties. And if we excuse me, new node dot y equals 200. Cool. Well, there's the logging from the custom handler. Then that's goodness. And then we're going to do red.nodes. this might not work. It might have worked. No, I don't think that has worked. You know what we're going to do? We're going to try something else. Oh, we're going to do what we're doing, but we're going to do it a different way. I don't think the approach I was trying to take right now was sensible. Well, if you think that wasn't sensible, just you wait. So if we come into red.nodes, oh, yeah, I can taste it, but I can also see how this is not going to work. But or how this could end up breaking things. But let's. So there's that. Here we are. Add node. What I'm going to do here. So there's the handle. So this add node is where every node gets added. Create the new node proxy, and then I'm going to emit the new node object. The reason, actually, it's not going to be so straightforward. Add node, you pass in the node object, and it does work on it. Because we want to now substitute that with one of our proxy objects, we need to go through and everywhere where we call add node, we need to make sure we, say this should now do a return new node. And then everywhere in our code base where we call add node, we'll need to make sure we use the return value of this function rather than continue to operate on. Oh no, you can continue operating on the raw objects. We're just a proxy to it. As long as nowhere else squirrels away that reference. Oh, yeah. I'm having one of those moments where we're in danger of doing something quite clever here, which, it does happen sometimes. But let's just restore some order here. Of course, I'm going to hit reload in a sec, and frankly, who knows what's going to happen. Well, I've hit reload and nothing's happening. Let's, out of interest, okay, let's go and get hold of one of our objects, N1. Yeah, see, it's oh, okay, stupid me. So I created the handler, created the proxy, I then emit it here, but all of this code up here is what's actually storing the reference. So we want to, and for the sake of, we'll just define that once, create the proxy. We then set some stuff up on it. I'm just looking for anywhere where we squirrel away references. All nodes.add node. There. I think that's the magic. Right. Hold on to your hats. Look at that. Look at that. All of this is evidence of things working. And it's quite cool now. We can actually see all of this is internal updates. So say I grab this node, and look, you can see all of the activity going on as I drag it around. Cool, huh? If I open a debug node, I mean, in terms of just improving some, looking for inefficiencies in the code, selecting that node updates. No, that's reasonable. We set selected to true because it got selected. We set dirty to true because it needs redrawing. We then redraw, at which point dirty gets reset to false. So, yeah, that's to be expected. And when I open up the edit dialog, you can see other properties are set. All to do with, and in fact, this is useful insight because opening up this editor is setting properties on the node object, even if they never get written back. So if the approach of freezing the object would break all of this behavior, which we're editing the node. We don't want to edit the node, so that's okay. So now let's say we call it debug 99. I'm just going to hit clear here so we can see what's new. Hit done. And look, all of this work is done. Interestingly, look at the range of node IDs, predominantly node 3B389, which is the debug node we were editing. But then it comes down to, it seems to recalculate the index of all these nodes, which I think is like the Z ordering. Yeah. But yeah, this is exciting. This is exciting because it means now anyone's code that tries to modify the node we can put some guards in and prevent those changes from happening. Yeah. Yeah. A possible downside of this will certainly be the overhead now of creating a proxy for every object, but yeah, you look at any like Vue or React, they are built top to tail in proxy objects. That's how they work. Yeah. This is mildly exciting. Yeah, I'm somewhat excited by the prospect of this. Now, we have to be mindful of a few things. That proxy is getting called. If I select everything and select all nodes, it's every property of every node is getting every update of every property of every node. Not every property, sorry. Yeah, basically that handler is getting called a lot. So we can't afford to do a lot in there. Yeah, we can't afford to do a lot in there because it is on a critical path. Yes. I guess, yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking through. My worry with the original approach by itself was we would be forever trying to just find more places that modify the flow that we overlooked, more actions, all that sort of stuff. The proxy approach will let us flag up, even throw an error. I mean, Steve, you said you think we'd return true always, even if we didn't set the prop value because it was locked. What I want to try is, well, what if it throws an error? Because I'd rather... I think these two approaches, they're not mutually exclusive. They all work in combination. We should take care to avoid modifying nodes if we know they're locked. So all the work we did to add the guards to those actions is good and can stay. But by having if we silently don't update the node, that could have unexpected... You might not realise, or it's less clear. Whereas if we were to throw an error, that's going to be much easier to spot and diagnose than just silently not updating the node. Bobby Tables asks, what are the node updates when changing workflows? What, changing tabs in the editor? It basically... what does it do? It makes, well, whenever the nodes get added to the view, they have to be positioned properly, marked dirty so they will get redrawn. We set resize to true that first time so that the view code can just calculate if any changes in size have happened on the node. And we have two separate dirty flags. Dirty if the node body needs redrawing, and dirty status if the status of a node has changed and might need redrawing, which allows us to, if it's a node with just its status changing, we can just set dirty status. And so it just has to redraw the status rather than recalculate the whole node body. But whenever we switch tabs, we assume we force a redraw of everything. So we force dirty status to true across the board. Yeah, proxies are awesome. Yeah, okay. So now it's a question of, all right, you've said they're awesome a few times. What now? What now? Because I can already see a problem. If we want to... Right. What problem? What problem can I see? Let's. Has this flow got? Yeah. See, it's got this node hidden down here. Gonna move him up. Oh. We're getting there. We're almost there. Right. He's up in the corner, so we don't have to go scroll to find him every time. So we've now lost him. Where is he? There he is. In fact, having done that, I want to just create a single workspace with a single node. Let's clear that. And now I'm going to hit reload. And that you can see it's done all of this work what I'm trying to get to is, right, empty workspace, switch to a workspace with one node, and again, it's done a heck of a lot of work. It's set dirty status, I think, on all the nodes, which is curious. But putting that aside, for this inject node, C719, it sets the height to 30, or says we have to resize it, sets the height to 30 again because it's realised the label doesn't have multiple lines in it. It's worked out the width should be 120, and because it's calculated the width, for reasons, it's adjusted the X position so the node doesn't move unexpectedly. Yeah, so what do I mean by that? A node with a very long name. So notice this node, its X position was 320. After we made its label longer, its X position is now 380. Because our X position is the center of the node. So if we kept the X position the same and you made the label longer, the node would grow in both directions. And for reasons, we decided, no, you want the left-hand edge probably to be fixed and grow the node. Anyway, I'm down a rabbit hole. My point being, if this workspace were locked at this point in time, we wouldn't want to allow you to change the X and Y. However, what all that waffle was about was whenever we come in, we set these, even just the act of drawing the node causes it to try and set those properties. Yeah, in fact, calling this... So I was about to say what we might be able to do is allow XY updates if resize is true. But then as soon as you click on and start dragging a node, then because resize doesn't get set whilst you're moving, so disallow X and Y changes if resize is false. Okay, let's sort of codify this a bit. Let's say if, well, let's be clear, node proxy handler. Yeah. No, sorry. Node proxy handler there. This is the node. If node.z and red.workspaces. Again, I'm super cautious over the fact this is going to get called a heck of a lot. But, yeah. What's the code we want? We want, let me find var n1.z red.workspaces.workspace n1.z. Nope. Workspaces dot, do we not have, yeah, see, red.nodes dot workspace n1.z locked. True. Yes, because that node is on flow 1. Okay. So red.nodes.workspace of node.z. And now this won't work for subflows. We'll have to do a separate test for subflows. In fact, yeah, that line of code I've just written will break as soon as you have a subflow because, yeah. So we're going to do, no, what's the syntax? That way, yeah. Oh, and of course, yeah. Good old JS lint in Atom won't know about that syntax. In fact, yeah. We're just going to run with it though. Locked if prop what are we going to do? If prop equals x, prop equals y. In fact, no, I'm not going to do x, y. I'm going to say if node dot node def defaults prop. So we're modifying one of the node's own properties, as in, yeah, one of the node defined properties. We're going to return false. Object not defined. Okay. Yep, sure enough. So this is basically saying if you're trying to modify one of the node's savable properties, other than X, Y, yeah, other than the node red defined ones, then we're going to reject it if you're on a locked flow. Curious. Definite lack of wires there. Definite lack of nodes there. Okay, I have definitely broken something. Did that happen before or after I added this logic? Before. Okay, so introducing these proxies has broken something about links. Fair enough. I thought it might happen. We'll come back to that. Let's try this out. So we're going to shout now if anyone tries modifying one of the node's own properties. So let's just go get a reference to n1 again. And if you remember, n1 is it this node? No, we're looking for D766. Yes, so it's this inject node. If we look at its defined properties, we've got, say, once is a boolean. So if we do no n1 once equals true, hurrah, it says. But now if we look at n1.once, it's false. So we've refused to update the once property of that node. But it does very much seem, yeah, it's all around the use strict. And is it a good idea or not to use strict where we've never had it before? Okay, that's just adding another can to our pile of cans. Oh, but the point being, if I set x to that, set dirty true, and may as well set changed to true, and do red.view.redraw, the node has moved and it's got the change icon. So I can still update all of those properties, but any attempt to modify the node defined properties will fail. Okay, so now we're going to add x and y. Does that return false on that one? Except, I think we've said that could cause trouble, because there are times when we do want to be able to set it on that initial load. But I'm also thinking in that initial load it shouldn't matter, although we don't want to throw a type error. Okay, so we did say let's just verify. Any updates to X or Y will log this error, or log a message. No, we don't get any. Curious. Okay. Oh no, there we got a load. Yeah, so they are coming. I'm not entirely sure when they're coming through, but they are coming through. But if I add in only if resize is not true, then no matter where I move to, yeah, things aren't failing. Okay. So what are the other properties we care about? X, Y. Well, so ID and type never get changed. Z, yeah, Z can be changed. Yeah, we should add Z to the list. Then I think everything else in that list are node defined properties. X and Y we've dealt with. Wires is a very special case that we don't need to explicitly test for. Yeah, okay, so there are some single character ones like Z and L, so that's what tab they're on and whether they show the label or not. They shouldn't be changeable. Then what's the I should know this. What's the property if you disable a node? D for disabled, yeah. I can add that to this list. Okay, so this is now going to prevent us modifying any node red.nodes.subflow. Yeah. whether it's in a workspace or not, and whether it's a workspace or a subflow, and whether either of those are locked. Yeah, I think that's right. I said I should move over to VS Code for my Node-RED development. I hear people saying, but we're cool here. So this proxy handler then, so whenever you try and set any of the node defined properties or any of the savable properties of the node, then we will reject that update. I think I might also set that flag, so we never want to show a read-only node as having changed, so we will prevent that being set. I'm just running through my head of, I'm sure there are going to be other little flags that get set in other cases, but okay, but we need to fix this whole link business. Look, we can't, in fact, if so, well, no, because we have to check bug tables. We have to do this workspace subflow check to find out is the node being modified on a locked workspace? Because we only need to do all these other checks if we're locked. Yeah. That said, certainly a possible efficiency would be for in the editor to propagate the locked flag from the workspace to all of the nodes in it. So we don't have to do any lookup, it's just a Boolean flag on the node itself. Yeah, I don't want to get into premature optimization here, but that's certainly a possibility. Right, what I have noticed, oh no, sorry, I was on a locked flow, that's why this wasn't working. If I draw a link between those two, that looks happy. But on this import, we're not getting links. Right, and that will be related to this whole thing with add node and us creating the proxy. So what I want to do first is look at who calls add node. For example, exactly here, what are we in? We are in, this must be import nodes, surely. It's a big one. It's a big one. I'm still scrolling. There we are. Must be near the top. Must be near the top. No, still going. There he is. Yeah, import nodes. He chuckles as he spots yet more edge cases. Right. If anyone wants to just bookmark something for 2 minutes, then line 279 would be super useful for someone to bookmark in the chat. And we'll come back to it in a sec. But this is the main... Thanks, Bobby Tables. I knew I could rely on you. This is the main bit of code in import nodes where the nodes are imported into the editor. So this is where so much of the work is done calling add node. What I'm looking for is, silly chicken versus egg problem now. Right. Import nodes does a heck of a lot of work, including crikey, like node map. So for reasons I can't possibly recall, when you import a flow, we do a heck of a lot of work, including adding all the wires. And we add the wires before we add the nodes. That's it. That's the statement. We add wires before we've added the nodes, and the wires include references to the node objects. So here, source, n, target. Well, no, don't worry about the fact it's wrapped up. The point is, the wire is represented as a data structure that looks like this, with a source and a target property, and they are references to the actual node object. Which is fine, because we know that node object will get added later on, except now it's not getting added. It is it's getting replaced by the proxy, which means this data about what is this link connecting is no longer, this n isn't a node we know about. We know about its proxy, we don't know about it. And that will be because there is code that, why is there? What's the problem with, what's the problem? Let's go look at add link. Because in theory, we should never be doing direct object comparisons. We should always be comparing the IDs of properties. So it shouldn't matter if we're comparing the raw node object with the proxy, because they both have an ID property and they both look good for it. If we just console.log, what does L look like at this point in time? So notice how these are all raw objects, as it were. And if I draw a link, notice source and target now are proxy objects. So when you add them at this point, it works fine because we already have the nodes as proxies in the environment, so we can add whatever links we want and things do just work. But on that initial import, it just doesn't work like that. 2279, no, we were 2259. I didn't ask him to bookmark it, but close enough. Add link. Now, one possible hack is I'm not inclined to reorder these and add the links after the nodes, because the ordering here has... I know there have been bugs in the past based on the order all of these operations happen, and I'd be wary of moving something and inadvertently fritzing it. But we do have new links, which is an array of all the links we're adding. So what if we do this? What if we do this? We're going to say new nodes I. So remember, add node is returning the proxy node. So instead of just iterating over the new nodes to add, we're going to do that. So we update new nodes I to be the list of proxies, which means, for example, here, well, things should, it means all the stuff we pass back now will be the proxy objects. That's good. Then what if we do new links.length, new links I.source equals red.nodes.node new links I.source.id. So basically we are, having added all the links, we're then going to update them all. So in the internal data structure, they have the proxy objects rather than the raw node objects. Nope. Although, there is part of me now. Yeah, there's definitely part of me now that wonders, have I poisoned my flow file? What do I mean by that? Okay. Oh no. Yeah, junctions still have wires. I'm seeing lots of empty wires arrays as I scan down through. And I did also notice, and I couldn't quite explain at this point, say, oh no, look. We're not, show flows. No, we're broken. Yes, look, errors, errors, errors. Oh, okay. We have screwed it up. Sorry, we're getting errors. Canary properties undefined. So that to me suggests one of these is returning undefined. So I just want to get a feel for, are we talking an edge case? Have I just fundamentally screwed something up? And but the observation I was trying to make before I made the next observation in this, yes, he looked at all those undefines. So, oh, because it might not be a node. If it's a link to a junction, yeah, okay, we'll come back to that. Look, all of these nodes, if I select them all and hit export, JSON, format it, as I scroll down, their wire arrays are empty. I think I have at some point hit deploy with it in a broken state. So let us just add in some wires. Okay, hit deploy, hit reload. We've got wires. Good, they are reloading. And that's without having to do this remapping. Ooh, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Let me... Yeah, so he's got no wires. If I unlock him... Yeah, so there is still the bug. After you lock or unlock, you have to toggle the workspace you're on to unlock things. If I deploy that, reload, then yeah. Oh, damn it. We moved the slice action to, there we are, Alt. Yeah, this is seemingly working without rewriting any objects. So, okay, where I thought we had a bug, I think something went awry quite a bit earlier. And I deleted all the wire. Anyone say spoke too soon? The wires, they are gone again. Okay, we add in wires across the top there. I hit reload, the wires are still there. These wires have gone now. Come back here, we're still happy. Move that, hit deploy, reload, the wires are gone. Okay, so now let's put this code back in, except it can't quite be this code. Because there might be a wire to a junction. Is it nose dot? Yeah. Okay, so now we wire up to the restore those wires to the junction, restore these guys, I hit deploy, all the wires are there, I reload, all the wires are there, all the wires are there, let's just deploy inconsequential change here, reload, all the wires are still there, reload on this tab, all the wires are there, switch back. Yeah, okay, we fixed it. Phew. So we did need to do this substitution of the original node object for the proxies. Okay. Okay, well, we're 9:10. I'm not sure where this is going, but it feels like there's something here. It feels like we've got that there is something here, and we can put some proper guards in around modifications. Now there's lots still to do. For example, putting guards around the groups. This is where we still need all the code in all the different actions to stop you even trying, because it's going to get in a bit of a weird state where if the action silently thinks something has changed because we're not in strict mode, then there's part of me tempted to say, do we need to put all of our source into strict mode and just test everything out in strict mode? That's another scary thought, but there's certainly some benefits to be had by being in strict mode because you can avoid a lot of the weird ass side effects. Bobby Tables, you saved line 279 and you've sat there quietly waiting for me to go back to it. So this is a bit of an edge case. Isn't everything an edge case? Move node. So if you want to, for example, take a node, function 2, and say selection to subflow, it does that. It moved the node over. And if we go look inside subflow 2, we now have this function 2. Out of interest, if we copy its ID, red.nodes.node, that ID, it's a proxy, which, yeah. Okay, so not quite the weirdness I thought maybe. Let me just check in console log moving node. I thought what I just did would hit this bit of code. Let's just check. So subflow, selection, subflow. Yeah, moving node. Okay. And what this does is to move the node from one workspace to another, it removes it and then adds it back, but with the Z value updated. Now, what I was curious about is the fact add node here, remember. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, okay, it works. The reason it works, this add node is this function called add node, not the add node that generated a new proxy. I thought for a moment we were going to be wrapping a proxy in a proxy by passing a proxy in. But no, that's not the case. This is well, rightly or wrongly, it's calling the internal add node, not the external add node. Okay. Perhaps something I should do though. So this is the add node where we've added the proxy handler, which is invoked as red.nodes. Add. So red.nodes.add. Oh, and we need to be in the right place. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places where we call red.nodes.add that will now be returning a different object to what gets passed in. So we actually kind of should go through those and make sure they do the right thing. For example, here we are in the history submodule, and we're dealing with a delete. So we are undoing a delete. Okay, so this is genuinely ev.nodes, I think, will be a proxy, and here's a good example. We're passing a proxy into something that will then wrap it as a proxy. So what does that look like? Let's just have a quick look at this. It's 1:15, 2 more minutes. I've got a sense that this is going to show some breakage, but think of it as the cliffhanger for the end of this week's stream. So this node, see it's a proxy, all good, all healthy. I delete it. So calling that same function is now undefined, as you'd expect. I then Control Z, the node is back, is all well. If I call red.nodes.node again. Yeah. So here, notice the proxy has its target is an object with all of its properties. Here, after doing the undo of the delete, the proxy, its target is a proxy. And if I expand that, that proxy has a target of the object. So we have wrapped a proxy in a proxy, which is no good. But we can kind of fix that by saying JavaScript how to check is proxy. Stack Overflow. And all of the answers here are superbly hacky. Yeah, well, in node 10 you can use isProxy. Well, we're not in the node world. It's impossible to determine whether an object is a proxy or not. Which seems fairly well verified. Okay. It does feel like we need to guard against it. Because there's no, well, my main worry is third-party code. That we can go, and this has been my concerns with doing the lock flow stuff all along. We can go through and do the legwork to fix up everywhere that Node-RED modifies these objects and add in the checks. But we know there's third-party code out there which will do stuff in the workspace. I know there's stuff that I don't know does things like that. So, yeah. Particularly if this is a feature we want in 3.1 and not hold out till 4, then we can't really have this be a breaking change. So yeah, we need a little bit more care. For example, so the Stack Overflow posts had things like this. If prop, well, in fact, some used a symbol, didn't they? Let me pull that back up. Is it strictly necessary to use a symbol? No, it's not strictly necessary. But yeah, if prop equals, I don't know, is proxy, of course we have to pick a property name that isn't going to clash. We return true, else we return node prop. What does that mean? Well, that means here we can say if new node dot, or if I should say not new node is proxy. Oh no, if n, because that's what's passed in. If it's not proxy, net new node. I do dislike dangling new node, dangling lets. But anyway. So essentially, if it's not a proxy, wrap it, otherwise reuse it. Seems reasonable. So one final check. get that object, see it's a proxy of an object, target is an object, we delete it, we undo it, we get it, and it's still a proxy. Cool, cool. Yeah. One is proxy. Yeah, and it's a non-enumerable property, which is even better, so it doesn't show up anywhere. Yeah. This is an approach. I need to think about this. I think there's lots of micro optimizations to make, like propagating the locked property down to all the contents rather than having to constantly reference the workspace. That's something to think about. Use strict mode. Yeah, it would be nice if we were more explicit when a bit of code tries to update something they shouldn't, rather than it just fail silently. That would be much more preferable. Yeah. Steve says, proxy made observable instead of looping all nodes, setting dirty. The node can announce it is dirty and a map of dirty nodes can be used. Yeah. Yeah, you know, once you get into proxies, observables, all that sort of stuff, more reactive style programming, which so many things are these days. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of interesting thought as to great swathes of the editor that could be rewritten. But, you know, one baby step at a time. This has been good. I haven't hit a stumbling block yet. It's not, you know, certainly not plain sailing, but just looking through here, for example, yeah. What on earth is this doing? Is this creating a new config? Yeah. There's stuff to be done. Lots of code paths to care about here. Yeah, lots of things to care about. Little things like that. And also to put proxies around junctions, put proxies around groups. Proxies, well, to be frank, proxies against all the object types you can add, not just nodes. Here we have, what's this, split wire with linked nodes. Yeah, so this is now broken because we add, is it? No, this is not broken. Sorry, or is it? And link out. Red.view.create node. Sorry, little rabbit hole. Let's look at create node. Create node creates the actual raw node object. Does it call red.nodes.add node? Well, it generates the history event, so I'd expect it to. But I can't see anywhere. Yeah, I can't see anywhere. On add. Yeah, how's this working? Or am I missing it? Ending. Oh, sorry. Right. Yes. Ending count is there. Ending count is the actual node object. Right. And then, yes. So this code is broken at the moment because it's creating a new node object, which ending count is. It does a whole bunch of work on it, which is again working on the raw object. Then here, it will get substituted with the proxy, and here it creates links with it as the target, but that now needs to be the proxy. What I'm not clear on in this code is what node source map is used for. Oh, it caches it. Okay. Yeah, so it wants to be caching the... All right, let's just fix this as I'm here. Yeah, so it's slightly unpleasant. This is red.view.create node creates the raw node. It doesn't create the proper proxy. It's red.nodes.add that does the proper bit. Yeah. Perhaps need to review, because red.view.create node is a relatively new API. We added in 3.0 or thereabouts, in part to add this action, to split a link with link nodes either side. But yeah, there must be a similar block here, yeah. I think that's okay. So same deal. We get the raw node object from red.view.create node. We then add it to get the proxy and substitute it with the proxied version, and then we cache the proxied version locally because that's what we should be reusing from then on. Yeah. Okay, so we've done those two, and what's these two? Red nodes add. So this is when you drop a node in. Okay. Just scanning through. So we create the node. Same deal. We create the node. We then call red.nodes.add. Maybe would it be if we did that? Then from then on, NN is the proxy. So all this stuff will just operate on the proxy. Seems safe. And here's one more red.add. And this is... where are we? Quick add dialog, okay. Yeah, I think we can just substitute it. So with that code done, if I select this wire and split wire with link, yay, we have the link nodes. If I undo it, yeah, all looks hunky-dory. No weird side effects on the sidebar using proxies, that's good. The other one was quick add, so insert the inject node. Yeah, that's seemingly behaving. And then drag a node in. Yeah, that works. Okay, well, progress, good progress. I like this. We'll see how we get on. We'll see how busy I am this week, but I'm conscious of how much progress I'm able to make in an hour and 90 minutes each Monday on Node-RED work. We need to make some better headway towards the 3.1 release if we're going to get it done later this month or in November, which is a reasonable target. It's what our release plan states. We'll do it's about 3 months since 3.0, so but there's not a lot. Well, there's lots of little bits and pieces, but this is one I would like to get into 3.1, but need to try and make some more solid progress on it. So yeah, I'll be back. I expect next Monday. There's a tiny % chance I won't, but normal service should continue. But otherwise, well, yeah, I'm the downside with streaming for 2. I would happily just sit here, stream hours and hours and hours. I want to go have a cup of tea because I was away last week. I'm behind on House of Dragon. There's a new Walking Dead to watch. There's the trouble is my kids are growing up, and I remember the good old days that they would be asleep in bed by 7. They now stay up till like 8:30, and there's a very precious window of opportunity just to sit on the sofa with a cup of tea and watch stuff that my wife and I want to watch rather than stuff with the kids. So, needs must. But yeah, I know that there's another option though. I may just randomly stream a bit more. Who knows? Family is important, and it's important that the family get their good night's sleep so that I can have a cup of tea in peace. With that, I'm going to say good night. Thanks for all for joining. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Great progress. I'm really pleased with what we've achieved tonight. And yeah, excited to see what other things it opens up. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye all.